Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our work session with the Greenville LaFleur Consolidated School District's Board of Trustees. At this moment, I ask that we bow our head for a moment of silent prayer. Amen. Mr. Superintendent, are there any items that we need to add to the agenda for you?
Yes,
you
sir.
can go ahead first.
We'd like to add to agenda item under agenda item number 9, it will be 9.22. Approval of early graduation for seniors. That would be 9.22. .23, approval of early release for seniors. .10, approval of summer feeding employees. And 10.11, approval of recommendation for Director of Safety.
Colleagues, if we can, for item, so we'll go with item number 5 and we'll move everything down if that's okay with you. Number 5 will change to Attorney Palmer. He would like to make a presentation, so we would just make Attorney Palmer number 5 and move everything down from that point on. Also, if we'll add on to what the superintendent added, I think we stopped at 10:10, so that would be 11:10. I'm sorry, you're correct, I apologize. We stopped at 10:11, so that would actually be 11:11. So we'll start with number 12, if it's okay with you, Mr. Superintendent, and Attorney Palmer, to add the bond issue. I don't believe that was a part of our agenda, if I'm not mistaken. Is it there?
Yes, sir. Agenda item 8, please.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So we don't have to add the bond issue. I do know, Mr. Superintendent, one of the board members inquired about an update on an employee matter that was previously in litigation. Attorney Palmer, if that's something that we need to discuss in executive session, we can discuss that during our regular board meeting, if that's okay with the board. Okay with you?
Yes, fine.
Coach Mann, is that okay with you? Ms. Abraham? Is that okay?
I'm trying to say, this page 2, 3, and 4.
So, number 12, can we add a policy regarding overtime pay or comp time? I know Attorney Palmer was looking at that, so that's something that we can discuss in open session, correct? So that's just policy regarding overtime and comp. Overtime pay, that'll be 12. overtime pay/comp time.
Can I add another?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Also, if we could add the review of, I don't have the policy number, pertaining to vaping.
So can we do that for number 3, Attorney Palmer? And I guess 12 would also go with 3.
Yes, Mr.
We could do both for number 3? Okay. You said vaping is what it is? All right, so I guess that'll make number 12, if it's okay with you, Mr. Superintendent, if we can get some updates on DHA, that particular grant, just looking at enrollment numbers, outcomes, and curriculum. I know it's something on here about DHA, but I'm not sure it's specific to those areas. So can we add DHA for 12? I'm sorry, yeah, for 12, it's DHA. And this Delta Health Alliance. Number 13 would be MASS. That's the conference that we normally attend every summer on the coast. And then finally for me, Greenwood Little Theater. I'm not sure. It's in here? Okay. Colleagues out there, do you have anything that you would like to have added to the agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item number 3, policy updates and review. We added, the review of policies for vaping and a policy, maybe, a policy for overtime pay and comp time.
So if I may, colleagues, I attended virtually a conference that was held, hosted by MSBA, and Attorney Jim Keith was making a presentation, and it dealt with wages. So my question to Attorney Keith was centered around who determines if an employee receives comp pay or overtime pay, specifically for those hourly workers. And the response that was received was that the board made that particular decision. I'm not certain what our policy is here or what our practice is, but I did mention this to Attorney Palmer. And if Attorney Palmer has some feedback at this time, I will yield the floor to you, or if you prefer to wait until the board meeting, just let me know.
Mr. President, I do have the board policy, but in the appreciation of time, I can probably better address that at the actual regular meeting.
Yes, sir. Is that okay with you all, colleagues? Okay with you, Mr. Superintendent?
Absolutely.
And then the vaping we'll address at the board meeting, Attorney Palmer. Okay. All right, Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item number 4, approval of May 2nd, 2023, regular board meeting minutes.
Questions or concerns, colleagues? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item number 5 is Attorney Palmer.
Attorney Palmer, we yield the floor to you.
Board, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It gives me great pleasure to present some very outstanding scholars that are part of our particular district. My office, Palmer Law Services, has had the privilege of awarding scholarships to our graduating seniors since 2009. And as of date, since 2009, we've been able to give out $45,000, most of which have gone to students of our district as well as the predecessor as follows. Ms. Madison Harper present. And she had a program that she is attending in Tuskegee, if I'm understanding. So she's unable to be here, but she will for this opportunity. Jamala McCray. Destiny Baker. Nala Green. And last but not least, Amari Johnson. We wish them well in their future endeavors, and as a part of the presentation that we'll make, be as such, motion to come.
Now, Attorney Palmer, can I ask your recipients some questions? All right, what high schools did you all graduate from? Everybody graduated? Attorney Palmer?
Flag on the plate. Actually, Ms. Harper is from where? Say again? Florida. And
Are you from here? Okay. All right.
now, let me say this. I send scholarship applications to all students. Okay? The interesting thing about it, depending on what's going on with the schools, that we get low reception of those applications. Sometimes we get a lot. This year, we actually had a total of 28 applicants.
Okay.
The ones that did not get scholarship got at least 25 applications. So everyone got something to apply for scholarship. But we look at everyone that's in the school district, it's hard to choose, so we got so many great applicants, but these were winners this year's scholarship.
And where are we going to school? Who? What's the name of the school? Okay. Okay, cool. Cool. I like your green. All right. Colleagues, anything you would like to add? Great job, and Attorney Palmer, thank you for supporting our kids. Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item number 6, superintendent's report. At the June 6th board meeting, these are the items that we'll be discussing. Agenda item number 1 on the executive summary is the safety report for the time period of April the 29th through May 24th. Our monthly maintenance report for that time period. Also, agenda item number 3 will have a data report. Our pre-kindergarten MCAS scores for this school year. Our kindergarten MCAS scores for this school year, and both will be comparisons between the percentage of students that scored 681 from spring of 22 to that of spring of 23. Third grade reading, initial testing, the percentage of students that passed district-wide, and the percentage of students that passed per school compared to spring 22. Third grade retesting, we'll have a discussion on our results from the second retesting that we had, which was about less than 2 weeks after the initial testing. But we do have another testing at the end of the month of June, and as far as we go down, as far as our agenda is concerned, we'll be asking for permission for remediation for the month of June in summer school. Infrastructure, just wanted to be able to talk to the board and to the community about some things that we're doing on our campuses in our building you know, such as added security at LaFleur County High School. We found that most of the doors at our high school at LaFleur County needed to be replaced. That is going to, you know, that is going to cost us pretty good, but there's no cost that we can put on the security for the children. Stump grinding in the district, we cut down quite a few trees in the district over time, but we left the stumps. And it's kind of like an eyesore, and as they get older, they start to rot, and when they start to rot, they carry insects and they carry other vermin, and we want to make sure we're doing that. Parking lots and signage in the school district. You know, as I, you know, visit schools, and I'm sure that you all do as well, you probably see that some of our parking lots do not have lines at all. Some have faded lines. We have to be, you know, ADA compliant with our, you know, visibility of our handicap parking and so on and so forth. So we're in the process of doing that. The brick bay sign at Amanda Elsie, going into Amanda Elsie, I guess that's Bishop Road, the road that goes to Amanda Elsie. We, you know, looking to refurbish that. Agenda item number 5, you know, as far as our vision statement is concerned, it's a work in progress. What I wanted to do is that I wanted to have a foundation for our vision statement moving forward. And, you know, what I want to make sure that our school district is going to be what, you know, what it should be when it comes down to the rebirth of our community, our entire county, you know, that we're going to be the entity that's going to put the community members out there, that's going to bring us back to where it is that we should be. So right now I have the Greenwood-LaFleur Consolidated School District will become the heartbeat of greatness, destined for the LaFleur County community. And with that, we're going to have to begin to work together, okay? And meaning that, you know, our students are going to have to begin to work together. And what I have on here is nothing that's being taken away from our present schools, but I've had meetings with employees of the school district and their thought process about, you know, in some instances, as much as we possibly can without being disruptive, we need to have our children our children from all over the district to be able to do some things together, for a lack of a better term for it. Because I feel that if students get to know each other in a setting where they're working to accomplish something, once they become young adults or become into our community and our society, it's more difficult to be upset enough at someone that you worked with or you've done something with for 4 years to the point of taking a life than it is if you didn't know them at all, if that makes sense, okay? So, you know, because we have some students, we have a great deal of our students that, for example, that's at LaFleur County High School that probably know more people at Hollandale Simmons than they do at Greenwood High School or at Amanda Elsie, because they don't ever do anything together. You know, they may do some things, you know, in competition to each other, but other than that, and being that we're, you know, we're one school district, it is important that they get to know each other and that they get to work with each other. So, you know, we've already have our mass choir, where we have students from all over the school district that work together, and we all know that those students, Mr. Rivers and the people that he has working with them, they represented the school district extremely well, not only in the state of Mississippi, but also, you know, outside of the state. And that went well. We had no issues with students from different schools, you know, in that particular situation. So I had a meeting with the band directors, and I talked to them and I asked them, is that something that they think that they will be willing to do, you know, on not in lieu of, you know, the Greenwood band or the LaFleur band or Amanda Elsie band, but, you know, in addition to. having all of those students come together and practice. And, you know, I'm thinking I'm coming up with just a wonderful idea. They told me that this is something that happened in 2019, you know, and it stopped only because of COVID. You know, so with that being said, they were very excited about that. Navy JROTC. We have that at Greenwood High School. I spoke with the, I think his name, Chief Harry, and I asked him, you know, is it possible that we could begin adding students from LeFlore High School and Amanda Elsie? You know, he has to have a certain percentage of the students at Greenwood High School, but he could be able to add 10 more students, 10 from Amanda Elsie and 10 from LeFlore High School, just starting off. So that's something that we're looking into doing. And career and technical opportunities for our students, which we already have, but I want to, that career pathways part, where we have our carpentry and we have our culinary arts, you know, we need to have more of our students from all over the district to be involved in that, not only for the ability to get that certification, but also the ability to get to know each other. So that's a part of the vision, you know, that I have and that we have as far as the district is concerned. So I wanted to be able to talk to you all about that at the next board meeting as well. So that is the end of the superintendent's report. And again, we'll go in more depth about each one of those agenda items at the June 6th meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Any questions, colleagues?
Yes, talking about from the vision statement that we currently have, yes, ma'am, this is a revision, and like I said, it's a work in progress. It's not something that I'm asking the board to approve in June, because I want to get input from the faculty. I want to get it from our parent committee, you know, because I want to kind of sell what my vision is for what I want the school district to be for our community and our children. So it will, you know, it will probably change, you know, and get you all's input on what that vision should look like. And then once we have our, either it'll be hopefully maybe a special call meeting or the next meeting that we have in July, we have to set a date for our district retreat based on board policies that we have to do. And then we'll be able to have an opportunity to vote on what that vision statement will be. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Waddington, do you have any community people serving on this committee for the vision statement? Any of our business people?
No, ma'am, no, ma'am. None of the none of the committees have been established yet.
Okay.
As far as the vision statement that I have, being that it's a work in progress,
Mhm.
I wanted to have a foundation for what it is that, that we're looking at as far as the district is concerned. So, I feel that as far as our P16 councils that we have, those people are already serving on committees for the district. So I figured that the best thing to do is choose people, or community members, or business members from that committee, and have them to be a part of this particular situation. So that's what my thought process is, and that's what it is that we have. Now, when we get ready to bring to you all what it is that have been come up with, giving students opportunity, faculty members, parents, community members, what that looks like when it's brought to you all, I have a list of those people that participated, so you will be able to know who is involved in that. And once you all look at it and make a determination on what you want to add, subtract, or whether you like it or not, then you'll be able to know who was involved and what we were doing and how we were doing.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Any other questions, colleagues? Just one question, Mr. Superintendent. Under the career and technical opportunities, are we still participating in the Jobs for Mississippi Grads program as a district?
Jobs, Mississippi. No, sir. Well, we are finishing up as far as this year is concerned, but based on the data that we have and some programs that we want to try to implement to help with the success of our students, knowing the deficiencies that they have, we're going to need to use federal funds in a different way this year.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item number 7, 16 section report, Mike Ainsworth.
And colleagues, you have before you a report from Mr. Ainsworth. Are there any questions? It's in our agenda. It's page 34 in our agenda. Yes, sir. No, we can't answer, Mr. Walden. I can maybe answer anything about 66, but go ahead. Go
Mr.
ahead.
Washington, I don't know if you recall, I believe it was in our last meeting, we were discussing a piece of property that was, up for termination. And it actually had terminated a while back.
Yes.
And I asked if we could find out about the yield on that property. So do you know if that information is available, or can it be available for the next meeting?
Yes, ma'am, it can. And if it pleases the board, I would like to add 16 section to the executive session for the board meeting on June 6th. But yes, ma'am, we can get that information.
Okay.
Any other questions, colleagues? Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item number 8, ESSER project update, Mark Pippert.
Mr. Superintendent, it's on. Mr. Superintendent, Dr. Bailey Board, good to see you again. Your reports in front of you. Really today, I'm just going to briefly touch on scope, and if we have a few minutes, I'd like to talk more about budget and some action items that we'd like the board to consider at the next meeting. As far as your projects go, things are going along fairly well with both the HVAC and toilet projects as they have been going. Hopefully pick up more steam, and we're really pushing to get the restroom project completed before kids come back to school this year. We have, as you noticed, you gave us permission to proceed with the window project. Beard Riser is working. They've come out and visited the schools. If you remember, we're going to do Greenwood High School, Bankston, and Threadgill Elementary. They visited the schools. They're working on a schedule, and I could possibly have that schedule for you as early as Tuesday's board meeting. I hope to. The other thing, you noticed, we've gone ahead and we're going to advertise for bids on the carpet replacement for those schools that had the carpet. I think there were about 3 or 4 of them that were included in that list, one of which is Davis, I want to point out to you. So that's as far as the work's going. On budget, if you'll remember, I've told you we've had about $5.75 million that had not been committed to any specific project. Now, you've given us the green light on the window project, and we're estimating that could run anywhere from $4 to $5 million. Remember, you did approve, and we're going to talk about this again, the change order on the electrical. That was $255,000, so that'll come off that list. And if the carpet bids come in as projected, we're thinking that's about $500,000 to $550,000. So carpet can get done. The change order obviously will get done. And one other item too, the superintendent had asked us if under your reverse auction process you had solicited some pricing for some other HVAC equipment. I believe it's around $270,000. We're going to see if we can get that included in the ESSER program. I'll have to make an application submission to Archives and History that'll eventually make it to the Department of Education for approval that it fits within the guidelines of the ESSER program, which it should. It's a HVAC work. So I think we'll be able to get all those things done, and then hopefully we'll get numbers good on the windows and get as much of that done as we possibly can. Any questions about that? All right.
Can I ask
Yes,
a
sir.
question about the toilets? So are we replacing toilets, all the toilets in the facilities?
No, sir. I think I can say we're replacing all the toilets that are like banks of toilets for girls, boys. I know we're doing a lot of staff restrooms, but I'd have to get back with you to say every one of them.
And the reason I ask, just considering high traffic areas, those athletic facilities or auditoriums that may have the restrooms, just asking about it.
I'll double check and I'll get with the superintendent and let you know.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Right, but obviously we're gonna allocate some of that potentially with the carpet project. The change order you have, in a sense, right? Right. So that'll knock that down to, yes, that'll knock that down to 5.5 million. And then if the carpet comes in at 500,000, we'll only have 5 million left. Does that make sense? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I think they're close. I want to believe they're ready to ask for substantial completion. They've not requested that yet. Oh, then they're not finished. That'll have to all be cleaned. They have to clean the restrooms. Then what they do is when they're ready and they think they're ready for our inspection, they do their own punch list. They submit it to us. They say we're ready for substantial completion. And the contractors, Upchurch Plumbing. They'll submit that to us, our team. The engineers will then come out and do their inspections and do a punch list, and they'll determine whether or not it is substantially complete or not.
Okay, one more question. Superintendent Robinson, would you be the one recommending that $550,000 that, coming from that, million, that 575 that had been allocated?
For the carpet,
Yes, sir.
no ma'am, actually what that is that what, he's asking is that the board, at the next board meeting, give approval to advertise for, through the, architect, which, I think,
Greg Durrell Architects.
the real architect. They're the one that has this, this project, so, we have to get board approval for the advertisement of that particular, that particular project. And it's the removal of the carpet, and I think all of it's going to be replaced by floor tile. We're not going back with carpet anymore, so that's what it is. And his $500 and some odd thousand is just an estimate of what that may come in, as once the board approves before the advertisement is designed.
If I recall too, I think we've asked him to solicit the bids, if you agree that we can do that, in a manner that we can see what it is at each particular school. So you could kind of pick and choose, if you, for instance, I think Davis, I said, is one of them. Maybe you don't want to do the carpet at Davis right now, and you just want to do Greenwood Middle School. And it could be awarded in any number of ways.
Can those people that are bidding, or those contractors that are bidding, can they give us a virtual reality scope of what that tile may look like in that facility based on color or things like that, so we can make a determination? Or am I asking too much?
I think we could at least get a color board. I might get Greg to do some sort of rendered images for you to give you an idea.
I think my colleagues would like virtual reality, but you can disregard it. Any other questions, colleagues?
All right, so a couple of action items. So we just talked about the solicitation of bids for the carpet. Another thing too, I think we have to revisit this on the HVAC project on the electrical change for $255,000. There was some confusion and a little bit of reluctance to go without coming back to the board and making sure. We know that you approved the money. That was clear. There was some confusion about the time. If you remember, when we made our initial presentation, they thought it could be as much as 860 days added to the contract. When John Beard and I presented to you, we told you we'd go back to that group with Upchurch, see if we could work it out in a better time. We did, 300 days from the time that they received the material. So that may be, at worst, maybe 600 days, so you're gonna save 200 and some odd days. Obviously, you guys approved the change last board meeting. However, the change order that was in your packet was the original one that had the 860 days. So to be clear, what we're making sure is the $255,403 with the added time expected to be 300 days from the receipt of the materials. And so I think we may need action on that Tuesday. Then I'm going to kind of lump these together. I think I've mentioned this a couple of times. In the restroom renovation project, that contract includes a contingency allowance. That contingency allowance is to be used at the district's discretion. It's not for anything that the contractor can do without the approval of the district. The way the contract's worded, the superintendent has that authority to do so without board approval. Now, I understand when that contract was drafted and approved, I think we had different legal counsel, different superintendent, and maybe, I don't know, maybe different board. I guess we need approval from the board if you would consider granting the superintendent that authority to use those dollars in the contingency allowance as needed for changes as they come up. And I'll give you a prime example. I have for you, if you don't want to do it that way, there's 3 change directives that I currently have in hand, and they're all related to the restroom project. In the restrooms, we call for new carriers to support the lavatories or the toilets or the urinals so that they won't easily come off the wall, right? Well, it turns out a lot of your walls, these old plaster walls, are not sufficiently deep enough to accommodate the carrier. So we have to build out a little wall to hold that carrier, tile it up. For instance, Davis right now, that's a $12,000 cost to do it at the restrooms at Davis. I've got another one at Bankston, it's about $3,600. I'll either have to come to the board every month with these, or as long as it's within the contingency allowance, the superintendent could authorize the expenditure of those funds to make those changes. And what I'll do is every month, when I come to you, I'll have an updated spreadsheet that shows you how are we spending those contingency dollars. If anything's left at the end of the contract, it's given back as a credit to the district. And you have a healthy allowance, it's $405,000. And I do know that this is gonna come up it's gonna probably come up at every facility that has these plaster walls. They're probably not gonna be, I anticipate they're gonna all be the same.
It just seems like a less efficient thing to do if that's within the
It-
realm of what we can do.
Yes, ma'am.
Superintendent
And-
has the power to do that.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Pickett? So, will you wait until you've completed all of the restrooms to come back and ask the superintendent for authority with that change order, or will you do it as you go?
I'll do it as I go,
Now,
like,
my concern is, what if you run out of money? I know you said it's 400,000, but what if you run out?
if I ran out, then I would have to come back to the board for anything above and beyond the contract amount. And there is currently a breakdown, and I probably should have included, I could by Tuesday. There is a breakdown per school of what we estimated that allowance to be per school that totals the 400,000. Yes, ma'am. It's in the current contract with Upchurch Plumbing, in the toilet restroom renovation project. I don't remember exactly what their contract sum is, but within the sum is 405,000. Again, it can't be authorized to be spent unless authorized by the superintendent, as the contract is currently written. And I think, Attorney Palmer, I have sent you that language, I think, maybe. If not, I'll send it to you.
Any other questions, colleagues? Anything
All
else,
right.
Mr. Pickett?
Two more
Okay,
things.
yes, sir.
On the roofing project, I think you're gonna use the loan from the Department of Ed or state. We do need to take some core samples of the roofs that we're gonna do for tests for asbestos. We'd like your permission or approval to do so, for that. I think the cost was $4,200 from Pickering, I believe was the,
And the reason why we hadn't done it was, I think that it wasn't at the last board meeting, it was maybe the previous board meeting. And, you know, it was brought to my attention, as well as from the board, that we may have someone on staff that could do that. And given the conversation that I had with that staff member, his, certification is not for that. When it comes down to asbestos, it's not. He explained it to me. He gave me a copy of the certification. He gave me where to read about the certification that he has. So, you know, when we're talking about what needs to be done for the roofing, that is another specialty for asbestos, and it would have to go through, you know, a firm such as Pickering or another firm to be able to do that. So that's why that's on the agenda for your consideration.
and I'll take just quick 30 seconds. Last item, I know you guys are considering a bond issue, and just know that we are capable of assisting you if need be, especially, for instance, if you want to solicit qualifications from architects. We could help prepare that document for you and solicit those architects, so thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Pickett. Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item number 9, bond issue update from Jim Young Law Firm and Attorney Palmer.
So, Mr. President, Board, I received an email from President Bailey. To that point, I have forwarded to Jim Young and Warren Greenlee, and I'm currently awaiting a response. I did tell them that we had a work session today and that our next meeting was next Tuesday, so I will call them as a follow-up tomorrow to see their availability.
Any additional comments, colleagues? Seeing none, thank you, Attorney Palmer. Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item number 10, discussion and action. Agenda item 9.1, approval of, 10.1, approval of third DHA amendment. Executive summary. The following budget amendment to the Delta Health Alliance and Florida Promise School community is being recommended for the following reasons. DHA amendment will offset the additional funding needed to ensure that Saturday school boot camp runs efficiently. The purpose of these camps throughout the district is to reinforce power standards and targeted deficiencies revealed in the third 9 weeks comprehensive assessment. Camps will be held at the following site: Threadgill Elementary, Greenwood Middle, Greenwood High, Amanda Elsie High School, LaFleur County High School, LaFleur County Elementary, and LaFleur County High. The Saturday boot camp will focus on standard-based instruction with focus on priority standards. The intended goal is to provide continuous support and work toward preparing students for success on the MAP assessment. And the reason why that this is back in front of you all is because between the time you all approved it and the time we had the boot camp, we had some teachers that couldn't do it that were approved and some that could, so we had to replace them. And we wanted to make sure that we get approval from you all for those that were replaced. So that's the reason for this third amendment.
Questions, colleagues? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item 10.2, approval of resolution for EFRLF grant. Executive summary, approval of resolution for Mississippi Department of Education Facilities Revolving Loan Fund Program. This is the information that you have in your packet is the resolution, award letter, revolving loan agreement, revolving loan intercept agreement, and revolving loan rules and regulations. And it is the last items that the board would have to consider as far as an approving to move forward as far as the project is concerned.
Questions, colleagues? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item 10.3, approval to add CTE classes as electives. Executive summary, in order to build student participation in the GLCSD CTE program and to introduce our children to the advantages of receiving a trade certification, I'm asking that an addition to the GLCSD curriculum is considered. And the recommendation is beginning the 23-24 school term with the incoming 9th and 10th graders, one of the electives that they choose before entering the 11th grade must be a career and technical education class. So it's almost like a mandatory elective, because what I am wanting is for our students to be able to choose between one of those career pathways. And we'll be on block schedule, so they can go for a semester. If that's something that they choose or that they find that that's something that interests them, they continue to go to be able to work towards certification. If it's not something that's interested in them, they can just have that, just say culinary arts 1 as an elective, and then, as you move as far as graduation is concerned. But we want to get interest in those trade areas as far as our students are concerned, because again, it's the saying that that is that's beat up all the time, that not all of our children are going to college. It's the truth. That's why I keep people keep saying it, because that's the case. We want to give them an opportunity for success regardless to what it is they decide to do.
Questions, colleagues? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item 10.5, approval of consideration for early graduation. Beginning in beginning 23-24. I apologize, I missed it. Agenda item 10.4, approval of modified work schedule for summer 2023. Executive summary, modification of summer work schedule for GLCS, the staff. And the recommendation is the board consider allowing the daily work schedule for GLCSD staff to be modified from 8 to 5 on Monday through Thursday and 8 to 12 on Fridays. If approved, the schedule would run from June 12th through July 28th. And that's for the year-long staff that, that is here during the summer.
Questions, colleagues?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Has the staff, do you have a percentage of how much of the staff wants that to be, or you don't?
Yes, ma'am. Well, the thing is that, the staff will be able to make a choice as far as what it is that you could either be from 8 to 5, or you could stay with your 7 to 4, or I think it's 7:30 to 4, but that would be 7:30 to 4, 5 days out of the week. So, it's not anything that will be forced on anyone. Just want to give people the opportunity, because a lot of times, as far as our year-long staff, we really don't take vacations, but to be able to have that half day on Friday and 2 days as far as the weekend, that's rejuvenation enough for us to come back on Monday, to get back to work. Just want to give that opportunity. Yes, ma'am.
And Attorney Palmer, this is, from a legal standpoint, acceptable, I imagine, because they're still working the number of hours per week. That's a yes? Okay, all right, thank you. Any other comments, colleagues? Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item 10.5, approval of the consideration for early graduation for GLCSD students. And probably what I'll do is, once we get down, we'll delete what it is that I asked to be added, because it's already on there. But we're going to, we have worked really, really diligently to be able to have the same schedule for all three of our high schools. We're all going to be on block schedule. 90%, 95% of our tested area teachers are going to be on planning period at the same time, so that we'll be able to have those those professional developments and work with them without having pulling them out of class. So with that being said, based on the block schedule that we're going to be working with, our students will have the opportunity to receive 9 Carnegie units in a year's time, whereas it has been 7 at some schools and 8 at others. So, but now it'll be 9. With that being said, we have some seniors. We will have some students in the near future that will get the opportunity to be able to graduate early. And we have a really diligent student that is beginning in the 8th grade. Okay, that student in the 8th grade can receive 3 Carnegie units before they ever get to the 9th grade. Okay, and if they receive 9 Carnegie units, and 9 more Carnegie units, and then in the first semester of their 11th grade year, they can have all 26 Carnegie units out the way, have the test pass, and be able to either graduate with the class that's graduating the year before them, or be able to enroll in college and then come back and participate in the graduation ceremony with the class that they came in as far as 9th grade is concerned. So, but we do not have a policy for this, and I am asking the board as far as consideration for this early graduation policy pending Attorney Palmer looking at it for, to ensure that it is legal and lawful, and we be able to do that for, give that opportunity for our students.
Questions, colleagues? And Mr. Superintendent, this may not be the appropriate place to ask this question, and if it is not, just tell me no. I know later on, that 10.11.2, we'll talk about middle college. But since you mentioned early graduation, has the district given any thought, or will the district give any thought to early college? I know we're participating in middle college, but a couple parents have mentioned that.
Right.
And I think it'll be a phenomenal opportunity
It will.
if we could
Yes, sir. Yes,
afford
sir.
our students that
Yes, sir.
opportunity.
And we looked into it earlier, as far as earlier this, well, when I first got in, I think it was in August maybe, we looked into it. And I think we missed a lot of deadlines. We made, I think we made applications for, for that. But as far as this year is concerned, now we have, the opportunity to do so. We need to have a few more conversations with Mississippi Valley on, as far as assistance with that. And also, I think that it is maybe not Western Line, Greenville Public School. But yes, sir, we'll definitely be working on that.
Is that something Dr. Malone can help us with?
Yeah.
No comment. Any other questions, colleagues?
I'm just wondering how is all of this communicated to the parents? Like every child's parents would receive this information?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Every
Once it's
child.
passed,
Yes,
everyone
ma'am.
would know? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We
I think it
absolutely
was,
will.
right?
I will be, from my perspective, I will be, very, very proud, to have a community meeting on that. Of course, at the beginning of the school term, our schools meet with the senior parents and the seniors, to begin, let them know what the expectations are and what that's going, and that'll be a part of that as well. Again, of course, we use our social media, we use our website, we'll use those things to be able to get that information out. And in the request, once, if a child is deemed eligible for early graduation, the student would have to sign off on all documentation saying that they're at that particular point. The student will, the parent will, the counselor will, the principal will, and finally it will come to me, to ensure that, everything is in line as far as that graduation is concerned, so that, we can make sure that all criteria has been met. Also, you all have a copy of that. We also have which we'll put in an agenda item, a recommendation for early release for our GLCSD seniors. And again, this has to do with giving our students the opportunities to be able to, because of the block schedule that we have, we'll have quite a few seniors that will be able to get those 4 classes that they need to be able to graduate, in a semester now, instead of them getting it in a year's time. So we'll have some seniors that coming into January that they have all that they need. If they passed all their, exit exams, if they have the criteria that we have on here for early release, which is the 2.5 GPA, you know, on track for diploma requirements, you know, only seniors in, good academic standing, you know, and if they have done all those things, they will be able to be released, you know, at the end of 65% of that day, which would, for our block schedule, would be the 12:50, if I'm not mistaken. That's the end of would be the end of the third block. So that gives them the opportunity to do that. Also, one of the other reasons that I'm asking the board consideration in that is that I want to help with our chronic absenteeism. A lot of our percentage at the high school for chronic absenteeism comes at the higher grades. It comes at the 12th grade as far as seniors are concerned. It comes when they get past compensatory aid. That's where we have our issue at. So if we have the opportunity for them to work, to be able to get to a particular point academically where they can leave, you know, at that particular time, you know, I'm feeling that that will help us with, you know, with the absenteeism that, you know, that we have in our high schools as well. So that's what it is that this recommendation for early release for seniors as well.
Mrs. Lewis.
So Mr. Washington, I'm glad you did touch on the absenteeism, because I think absenteeism and discipline needs to be tied to this.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I don't think we need to reward students by allowing them to leave early. They don't attend school on a regular basis, or if they cause a problem.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, this should be on.
Any other comments, colleagues? Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item 10.6, approval of the request from Delta Area Association for the Improvement of Schools to use Threadgill Elementary School from June 12th through June 23rd for pre-kindergarten boot camp.
Questions or concerns, colleagues? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item 10.7, approval of the DHA Rising Third Grade Summer Camp, DHA Summer Memorandum of Understanding, and the revised summer school programs personnel list. Executive summary. This is for the third grade after school program. The curriculum department is requesting the district permission to operate 2 summer programs for third grade students to remediate and prepare third grade students. The programs are Rising Third Grade sponsored by DHA, and third grade MAP remediation program sponsored by federal programs. The pay will be the same for both programs. Site coordinators $35, teachers $35 an hour, teacher assistants $17.50 per hour. Summer school applications, letters, and training will be provided by the district. The rising third grade students should be selected based on third 9-week data. Those students who score levels 1 and 2. Third grade remediation students are selected based on third grade MAP results. Those students who have not met gate requirements. The following schools will participate: rising third graders, Bankston Elementary, Davis Elementary, East Elementary, LaFleur County Elementary, Threadgill Elementary. And on this superintendent recommendation form, you can see the number of teachers and the number of site coordinators, you know, that we're requesting.
Any questions, colleagues?
I have one question. All third grade teachers have a teacher assistant?
No, sir. No, sir. Not all third grade teachers. The teacher assistants in our school district goes from pre-K through 2nd grade. Now, the teacher assistants that we have here is just as far as the assistant is concerned, it's just for the summer school program, you know, to assist with helping with the remediation of the different standards, because based on if it's a remediation and we're getting them ready for their last testing, we may have 12 students in a room, and we may have 12 different needs from those students. So each one of those, the teacher and the teacher assistant can address the needs, the specific needs of those students when we're talking about getting them prepared to be able to pass the test. Because most of them are very close to passing, but they need remediation in certain standards to be able to pass that test. So now, during the regular school year, most of our third grade teachers do not. Honestly, I don't think that any of them do, as far as our third grade teachers are concerned.
Dr. Moore?
I have a question. Mr. Lawson, what was the first date of that third grade test this year? What was that first testing date?
It was, Ms. Johnson, was it in April? Yeah, it was.
And the second date, Superintendent Walton?
It was a week after, the initial test. And the first test was April 19th. So it's April 19th and April 20th, and then the written test was 1 week after that, which was on Tuesday. It was on a Thursday, so April 19th and April 20th, and then the written test was 27th.
And what is the testing date, the third and final testing date for remediation or testing for our current third graders who need that third oral right?
And
The
the
next
June
date.
29th.
So Mrs. Walton, 30 days, is that a reasonable amount of time to remediate for testing after one whole year?
Are you asking my opinion about it, or because that's the only answer that I can give is that's all the time that we have. Based on what it is that we have as far as school is concerned, and school being out, we're starting as early as we possibly can. We would have wanted to start maybe a couple of days earlier, but we're having. And will probably be surprising to you, but we're having trouble getting permission slips in for these students that have not passed the test. So we did meet today to discuss on, having staff members, SROs, counselors, social workers, even some of our principals, some of our one-year staff, all-year staff, to go to the homes and see if we can have verbal face-to-face conversations with some of these parents about those students coming to this remediation. But we're going to begin on Monday with what we have, and we will diligently work with what it is that we have while we're trying to get the other ones in to the summer school program.
While I appreciate the effort, that the district is moving, toward providing remediation for testing, I just take a little bit of issue with the time constraint that we have. I understand that every day counts, I got that. But if
truly believe that it is. I want to kind of go back to, you know, the data meetings that we had when it comes down to third grade. Our students, as far as third grade ELA is concerned, we had 49% of our students to pass it on the first testing, and you know, as the data that I was, was reporting to you all each 9 weeks, you know, it was, you know, it began in, you know, about 30%. It went up to maybe, you know, mid 30s, and then third 9 weeks, you know, we had about 45%. So it was trending in the right direction. But again, you know, with that being said, I was explaining to you all that these are the third grade students. These students that are in third grade now, these students stayed at home for 2 whole years, okay? They did not come to school, they were virtual for 2 years, from March the 11th in 2020 till they came to school this year in August. They had been at home the whole time, okay? Most of them had. So, you know, we were behind the 8 ball in the beginning, because a lot of our students that were in the third grade, they had missed all those skill building opportunities that happened in the first and the second grade. And remember, you all gave us the opportunity to be able to have that after school skill building session with those students, because we found that the reason why they weren't doing well is because they had missed those skill buildings. So we were able to use those students, the students that were scoring in level 1 and 2, as far as after school is concerned, and we used our pre-K first and second grade teachers, you know, to work with those skills. So, you know, to give them that opportunity to be able to, you know, do their best as far as getting prepared for this last testing. You know, I do feel like that, you know, it gives them that opportunity to be as successful as they, you know, as they possibly can when it comes down to this particular situation. And yes, ma'am, we have, right now, we have 135 students, okay, that need to be 135 third grade, district-wide. District-wide, yes, ma'am.
And out of 135, 45% were successful.
No, ma'am. We have 135 students that need to pass the test on that last test. We have 135 students. Yes, ma'am.
How many third graders district-wide total do you have at home?
326.
And so it's 135, is it 45%?
135 is the amount that's left to pass the test from the initial testing and the second one.
And these are the students of this top subgroup. Okay, so these students, okay, I see the elementary school. Okay.
And Ms. Walton, just to add, the last day for testing is the 30th, so we're actually pushing it to the day before the last day to just leave the room for, so the June 29th day that we chose to retest for the third retest is a day before the winter closes. And some schools, it's no mandatory.
Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you.
Agenda item 10.8, approval of Kids First Summer Professional Development for counselors and principals. The district is proposing the use of Kids First consulting firm for summer professional development that will be conducted in 2 days in June. The training for the summers will focus on accreditation and strategic scheduling that will lead to student success. And the participants will be the principals and our counselors from those buildings, total of 2 days for this particular professional development. And the reason for this is that not only are we adjusting our schedules for our high school, but we're adjusting our schedules for the middle schools and the elementary schools as well. You know, again, me coming in as superintendent in July of this year, it was difficult to impossible for me to make the changes that, based on the data that I saw that were needed to help our children and help our teachers to be successful. So with that being said, given the data that we have and given what it is that we have as far as instruction is concerned, we looked at the schedules of our students. We felt that we needed the opportunity to have more instructional time at the elementary and middle school level in ELA and math. Okay, so instead of at the middle schools where all of our classes are the same length of time, the 7 days, let's just say 7 periods, and they're all 55 minutes apiece. ELA is going to be a block. It'll be a block to the point of where it may be 80 minutes. Math will be 80 minutes, you know, so that we'll have the opportunity to be able to, to touch on all of the standards that we need to, but also to be able to slow that down, to be able to work with as far as our students are concerned. And the same thing at the elementary level. We will be having larger blocks for that ELA, that math component. We wanted to do science as well, but we didn't have enough time in the day. You know, if we did science as far as block is concerned, the children would have been getting out of school right at 4:15. You know, maybe you all would have approved it, maybe you would not have, but you know, I think that we'll be able to work this schedule to be able to give our students the better opportunities for success is concerned if we already know that they have some deficiencies based on, you know, the time that they spent when it comes down as far as virtual was concerned.
So actually, you're saying that the elementary students will be on some type of a block?
They
Yes.
will still have their same number of classes per day. They just will have more time in English language arts and in mathematics.
Will the teachers be provided some type of professional development? Because when you have a longer period of time, they've got to really know how to be structured, because it could be a disaster.
Yes, ma'am. And that's what we're doing. I didn't want to bring so many proposals in the beginning as far as what it is that we're doing and what we're adding to the district. What I wanted to do was bring the first one to you all about, you know, the principals and the counselors, you know, with the scheduling as far as the students. Now, it's not just scheduling about just putting kids into these new schedules that we have. We're going to strategically put these students as far as that's concerned to help with the instruction. And once we do that, then in the July board meeting, I will be bringing you all proposals with the help of curriculum and with the help of with pre-K Dr. Gary on the professional development that these teachers would need to be able to teach on that block schedule, especially our high school teachers, because all of their classes are going to be blocked, except for the 7th period, which will be an activity period. You know, for those activities, you mean your PE, you may be a band, your different things like that. So, yes, ma'am, we'll definitely do that. That's all part of the plan of action that we have in place.
Thank you.
Mr. Wallace, I do have a question in regard to elementary. What grade in elementary will that block schedule, reflect? What grade?
For surely 3rd grade through 5th grade, that's what we see as far as, because that is the tested area that, you know, ELA, math, and science. Pre-K through 2nd grade, I think that they already had a schedule that was conducive to what it is that we're trying to do in the other grade level. So they already have a schedule that is conducive to that. So it wasn't much that needed to be done for that. But Elementary is considered, third through fifth grade. Some consider third through sixth grade as elementary school. But, you know, usually it's 6, 7, and 8th grade is middle school. But in some of our schools, we do have sixth grade, so it'll be third through sixth or third through fifth, before that's concerned. But that, we'll have that block of time, for ELA and math.
I do realize that third grade piece is, crucial and critical. But I do know that third grade is considered, early childhood. It is still in that, however, I do know that it is, third grade is considered early childhood. And, if they are able to sit that long and block schedule in third grade. Another thing, science. I would like to see something, enough emphasis, more emphasis rather, placed on that fifth grade science.
Yes.
Fifth and eighth grade
Yes, ma'am.
students, in particular. I had heard a lot of information, coming, or had seen rather, a lot of information coming to us to assist our students with science.
Yes, ma'am.
So I would like to, see more emphasis placed on that, fifth grade and eighth grade.
Yes, ma'am, you're absolutely true. And what it is that we found and that we knew and that we'll be working on is that, you know, if we wait to fifth grade science, we wait till the students get to fifth grade before we begin, being effective in our instruction to get them prepared for their fifth or eighth grade science test, we've lost the battle already. Our issue comes in is, you know, third grade, fourth grade, you know, science, getting them prepared for fifth grade. Here's our ideology about, you know, those classes or about like second grade. Our thought process as far as our second graders are concerned in Greenwood LaFleur moving forward is that when they at the end of their second grade year, they can pass the third grade test. We're looking to enhance their ability to be more successful on this test in the third grade because we're looking for points of proficiency, not just that they pass the test. So that's the reason why that you began to see this year that we had accountability for pre-K through first grade with the benchmark assessment. And a lot of the second grade in the second semester, you know, they were standard-based tests that they were taking, meaning that they were taking tests, you know, that were based on the standards for third grade ELA, you know, so we were getting them prepared for that, you know, and that's, again, the tie-in of the rising third grade summer school. That ties into what they did, you know, in the second grade to get them, you know, better prepared for that, get them understanding, get the parents understanding that the standards and the way that they will be instructed in the third grade is going to be a lot more rigorous and it's going to probably go a little bit faster than it would have, than it was as far as the second grade is concerned, but just to get them prepared for that, so.
And the reason I thank you for that information, but the reason I brought up that third grade piece and it being developmentally appropriate, I just don't want burnout for my third graders toward the end of that year, where they have been turning. Third grade is still considered an early childhood grade until that 8-year-old age.
Yes, ma'am.
I just, you know, I think my concern would be that third grade burnout.
Okay.
What we should have been doing pre-K through third.
Yes, ma'am, you're right, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
Ms. Abraham?
Well, I just have a concern that, you know, the superintendent has in place the committees that he has to do the jobs of being the superintendent. And I'm just concerned that we spend too much time with the specifics. I know all of us have a great desire to see our system be the best it can be, and it certainly needs to improve. But he already has in place his professionals to do this and bringing in some consultants also. I just think that gets more into his job in saying, you know, what he needs to do with them than what I think we should be able to say or
I
do.
disagree. Because see, no one is 100%, not even our superintendent, okay? The people he has working under him. You know, no one is 100%, and that's why all of us come together to work together to ensure that our students get what they need.
I understand that, and with all due respect, Dr. Moore, I'm just saying that I think that a lot of the things that has been said in here are suggestions that he already does or has in place something to handle. I mean, I'm just saying that from my point of view.
We hope that the suggestions from the board, we are a significant group and a very important piece to this particular meeting and to this particular, school district. So we don't want to, and this is why I sit here, okay, to ensure, I can't speak for the rest of you all, but I wanna sit here to ensure that the things that we have and that we are spending taxpayers' money wisely. And that, because in my mind, if I have a teacher that's effective and been teaching 180 days, and then we come up with a 30-day, whatever, in order to get our students ready for this third grade day test, which is the third time around. You have teachers sitting there for 180 days. So is this and this is why I asked the question, is that a wise spending of our funds? So we just want to make sure, no, we're not telling the superintendent what to do, but I have a duty as a representative of District 2. I have a duty to say these things. And if I don't, we just wanna put it on the line or put it on the radar. So it's my duty to ask these questions. I'm not, in no way, this superintendent has been sitting here for 1 year, and I don't think I have for one day told him what to do. Police, have I done that? Mr. Wallington, have I done that? So I'm going to make sure that in my notes, I ask important questions. And an important question, according to MSBA, said must be asked. Now, it's nothing wrong with asking important questions.
Well, we disagree, but we agree to disagree on that.
When you speaking for the board,
Thank
No,
you,
I'm
Cap-
speaking for myself. If I
Doc-
wanted to
Dr.
be
Moore,
the
Ms.
superintendent,
Abraham,
I would have.
Ms.
I'm
Abraham,
just making a clarity.
Dr. Moore, thank you. Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item 10-9, approval of 22-23 DHA Little Champions Academy Summer School Program MOA and revised personnel list. Executive summary, the Early Learning Department is requesting the district permission to operate a summer program for incoming kindergarten students. The goal of the program is to ensure kindergarten readiness, increase academic performance, and develop early literacy skills, including vocabulary, phonics, language, and numeracy. Establish rituals and routines to become familiar with their teachers. The pay will be the same for both program site coordinators, 35 per hour, teachers 35 per hour, teacher assistants 17.50 per hour. Some school applications, letters, and training will be provided by the district. The project title, Little Champions Academy, will be implemented at Bankston Elementary, Claudine Brown Elementary, will be housed at Threadgill Primary for the summer, Davis Elementary, LaFloy Elementary, and Threadgill Primary. The Little Champions Academy will be fully funded by Delta Health Alliance Promise School.
Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item 10-10, approval of snack donation from American Red Cross. American Red Cross received a large shipment of snacks and would like to partner with the Greenwood LaFleur Consolidated School District for distribution within the school district.
Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none, and we extend our thank you and gratitude to the American Red Cross for their donation. Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item 10-11, approval of Amanda Elsie High School to sell banner ads. The Amanda Airton High School would like to see a banner as to be displayed on the baseball softball field facing the main road and entrance to the school. Additional information is attached. What I want to be able to do is have a conversation with Attorney Palmer about this. This is being asked for by the Amanda Elder High School PTO to be able to do this. They do have a 501c3, and I just want to make sure that, you know, between now and it being on the agenda for you all to consideration, that he and I have a conversation about that is being done the correct way.
Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent, I believe this next item, Mr. Pipper already addressed, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So that would take us to 10:13.
Agenda item 1013, approval of MOU between MDE and the GLCSD for Mary Henderson to serve as educator in residence for the 23-24 school year. Executive summary: pursuant to the Mississippi Board of Education approved educator in residence program, this agreement provides professional educators with an opportunity to work within various MDE offices to build reciprocal capacity across school districts.
Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent.
Agenda item 1014. That's a repeat item. As far as the Saturday boot camp, revised staff list, that's a repeat item. So if it pleases the board, we can go to agenda item 1015.
Yes, sir.
Approval of Greenwood Little Theater lease contract. Executive summary: attached is a revised lease contract between GLCSD and the Greenwood Little Theater to add 10 years to its term and to add a paragraph that terminates the lease contract in the event the Greenwood Little Theater ceases to exist or ceases to operate as a community theater.
And I know Mr. is it Sturdivant, did I pronounce it correctly? And I know Attorney Palmer has also provided the board with some documentation. Come on, Mr. Sturdivant, we yield the floor to you.
Good to see all of you again.
You too.
Now, I think at the last meeting, y'all approved the extension for 10 years, and I think, Dr. Whaley, that you had suggested in the event that the little theater ceases to exist or no longer is a ongoing board, then the lease would terminate, which is included in the lease. I just put those two provisions in a lease contract that we had, and I think that's what is before you.
Any questions, colleagues, or feedback? Attorney Palmer, any feedback in regards to what has been prepared?
I was just made aware that this particular lease contract was presented to the board today, so I'll get a chance to look over it. It appears to be the same lease agreement that was allegedly approved back in 2001. What I provided the board was that agreement that was done in 2021. There were some issues with that situation. Nevertheless, when Mr. Sturdivant contacted me, we've been contacting each other by email over the last several weeks, trying to hammer everything out. So I'll just put an extra eyes on the document that he has submitted and make a recommendation accordingly. But it appears to be just a brief or very small modification of what the old contract said, which is in line with what the board had approved at a previous board meeting. Any questions? Thank you.
Agenda item 1016, approval of the MOU from the Mississippi Department of Rehab Services. The Special Education Department provides work experience, employment facilitation, and transition skills related to services to children with disabilities who IEPs indicate a need for transition service. The transition services allow the students ages 14 and up to experience employment services to help to develop and implement their post-secondary outcomes and goals. To ensure compliance and IEP implementation, these transition services, through partnering with Ability Works through the Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services, will need to be approved by the Greenwood and Florida Consolidated School District.
Colleagues, are there any questions regarding this particular agenda item?
Yes. Mr. Washington, on page 227, is that gonna be some information that's gonna be corrected?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Questions, colleagues? Mr. Walton?
Agenda item 1017, approval of bereavement policy. Executive summary, employees of GLCSD has a minimum of 10 paid sick days and 2 personal days. The purpose of this recommendation is use 3 of the paid sick days as bereavement days. These 3 days will be used only as specified by the approved policy. And you all will see, as far as the policy, the proposed policy for bereavement days is under the recommendation and action requested, and as with the with any policy, I would like to confer with Attorney Palmer and make sure that we're all with the legality before you all make your determination on whether this would be a policy that you would want to adopt. Also, one of the reasons, in the spirit of transparency, and it's just through my experience. As far as school districts are concerned, employees get 7 sick days and 2 personal days. The Greenwood and Florida Consolidated School District is affording, those that have 187-day contract, 10 sick days and 2 personal days. And as your contract goes up, the number of sick days that you have goes up, okay? So with that being said, we have been experiencing a lot of absenteeism in the Greenwood and Florida Consolidated School District. And we've had a lot of our employees, some that had legitimate medical excuses for being out, but some that have not, that use every one of their sick days and every one of their personal days. And that has hindered our ability to grow at the rate that we should be. So if we have the addition of the 3 days from speaking with staff members and faculty members that have been here, was based on the fact of using those days as bereavement days. I think that it would be in the best interest of the district, to put those 3 days in a bereavement policy. And if that policy is necessary for a staff member, then they can use those 3 days without using their sick days, without using their personal days. But if they don't use those days during their school term, those days do not turn over. Because what's happening is that, for every day that a person has as far as a sick day is concerned, and that they miss without any type of excuse, that's a full per diem day that the district is paying for that person just to be out. And, so it's not taking anything from them, It's just putting it in a place that they can use if that is the case that they need to be able to use that.
Okay, colleagues, are there any discussion about this regarding this agenda item?
Those 3 days, they only be used for bereavement
Yes, sir.
on an average. How many teachers are absent during the course of the day?
Usually, and I took it upon myself, I could have delegated that to, other faculty members or, my administrative assistant as far as signing those leave slips. But, when I began to get data from the district, when we're talking about our benchmark assessment data, and our, failure list, I wanted to see was there a correlation between those teachers, our staff members being at work and our students being at school and what it is that we were receiving. And Coach Fan, there's a direct correlation between the amount of time that's missed because of a student not being there and the amount of time that is missed because of a staff member not being there, and with what it is that we're receiving as far as our data is concerned. So to give you an approximate, amount, at the end of the month, when we're talking about leave time, over the district, I probably signed 250 leave slips a month. That's why I had to get a stamp and a thing. And and I know that that is not going to bode well for success in the school district if we continue to allow that to happen. But again, I'm not saying take anything away. It's just move those days to bereavement, to be able, if that's what you need it for, but that, and you still have, your 7 days as far as sick and your 2 days as far as your personal days is concerned. With your 2 personal days, you don't have to give us an excuse for what it is that you're going to be out. You don't have to do that. It's just our policy says you need to put that in, I think, 3 days ahead of time, so you don't have to do that. As far as sick days are concerned, right now, we don't have a policy that, that address when it comes down to sick days. Now, I do have a recommendation for a policy for that, as far as the sick days are concerned. But, we don't have a policy with that. So if you have 10 sick days and you know that as long as I don't go past 3 days in a row, I don't have to have a doctor's excuse. So that's what it is that I do, okay? I'll take the 2 days here, I'll take the 1 day here, I'll take the day. I have seen patterns where if we get paid, if the last working day of the month is a Friday, that month I'll probably have 350, of those leave slips to sign. It's seen it, it's just the day, and that's the reason why that, that a lot of the things that you all have before you for consideration is before you to give us the opportunity for success.
What do we do when we run out of substitute money?
As far as you talking about the district? Well, if there's a certain amount in the budget as far as substitute money is concerned, and it's based on year to year, basically what it is today, what you used the year before. If we run out, that means that we have quite a few people as far as certified teachers that have been, missing. If the staff or the administration of the building, can't find a way to, to place someone in there without getting a substitute, then, what we have to do is, we just have to make the adjustment. We're not gonna leave students unsupervised, and we're gonna do our best to try to utilize instructional time as best that we possibly can. But that is an issue that we have, with you know, the employees being out, and we're paying them for being out, and then we're paying substitute to be in their place, you know, and that is not an efficient and effective way to use the money in the school district. It's not. You know, sometimes it's necessary, but it should not be what I'm seeing. It seems like it's a practice, okay, and it should not be a practice. So,
Any further comments or dialogue? And we will get with, our board attorney.
yes.
To make this, to have more discussion about this and to move forward
Yes, ma'am.
in whatever way that will support the district. Thank you. Next agenda item, Superintendent Walker.
Agenda item 1018, approval of addition to policy GBRI under section 9. This has to do with attendance as well. New hires in the Greenwood LaFleur Consolidated School District that are eligible for vacation leave. What we have found out is that, I think vacation leave is for 12 months. Is it 11 months as well? Just 12-month employees. And sometimes we hire 12-month employees on July 1st, and they want to take their 12 vacation days in July. You know, they just got here, okay? So with that being said, to be in compliance with policy, I'm asking, and this is in the recommendation, superintendent recommends the board consider the following addition to policy GBRI, that as far as vacation and personal leave, new employees to GLCSD that are eligible for vacation leave will be able to begin using that leave at the end of their 10th month of employment in the school district, and that's the end of May. Okay, not saying that they can't use their personal days or their sick days, or if you all approve it, the bereavement days. It's just that you don't need to take a vacation the same month that you come in and we getting ready for school in August. It throws a kick into what we're trying. You have to be prepared for this job. So that's what that recommendation would be. It would be for.
We will also, get with, Attorney Palmer regarding, this particular policy, and if we have any more, dialogue about it.
Yes.
Thank you. Next agenda item.
Agenda item 1019, approval of summer food service program. Executive summary, plans are being made for 2023 summer food service program. It is scheduled to begin on Tuesday, May 30th and end on Friday, June 30th, 2023. Breakfast and lunch will be served Monday through Friday at the following sites: Bankston, Davis, East, Greenwood Middle, LaFleur Elementary, Threadgill Elementary, and Threadgill Primary. All 7 sites are open to the public. Announcements will be made to the public regarding the feeding days, times, and the times that meals will be served. And this was prepared by our food service director, Ms. Potter.
Colleagues, any comments? Next agenda item.
Agenda item 1020, approval of the 23-24 school board meeting and work sessions schedule.
Colleagues, any comments regarding the school board meeting and work schedule calendar? Superintendent Walker, next agenda item.
Agenda item 1021, approval of student transfer request. Executive summary, district employees are requesting to transfer their children to various schools in the district which are outside of their regular school zone. See attached information, attached list for additional information.
Any questions?
transfers, are, I'm gonna have to find out about that. I'll get back with you on that. I wanna make sure, before I say anything, I wanna make sure that I'm correct on it.
Any questions or comments? Superintendent Wallington?
Agenda item 11, personnel. 11.1, approval of signing bonus for certified teachers. I've had a conversation with our federal programs director, Ms. Cynthia House, because this has been a strategy to attract teachers to school districts that I've been in before. And I was talking to her about that particular situation. We had an opportunity, myself and some the assistant superintendent and Dr. Coleman, working with HR and working with the principals. And what we did is that we met with each principal and went down the master schedule to talk to them about the staff that we have. You know, whether they were certified, whether they were, had received one-year licenses, whether they work towards, their certifications with those one-year licenses. If you have any openings, we had, basic long conversations. Each one of those conversations with those principals went, on average an hour and 15 minutes. So, with that being said, once we got done with that, we found that we were lacking in highly qualified, certified staff. And with that being said, what I want to propose to the board is to be able to attract highly qualified and certified staff members to our school district. Because I'm proposing, that the district consider offering signing bonus. For highly qualified and certified staff in needed content areas, a signing bonus of $5,000 will be offered for a 3-year obligation to the Greenville LaFleur Consolidated School District. The funding for these bonuses will come from school districts consolidated federal programs project. And also, again, with this particular situation, this is something that I want to, have a discussion with Attorney Palmer, as to write up an MOU for this with those people when they, if you all approve it, with the people that come to be able to sign this MOU, and it gives the specifics of what their obligations would be if they receive this signing bonus. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
How will this money be issued out throughout the 3-year term? Will it be year-to-year payment? How will they receive that payment?
Well, actually, it would be a one-time $5,000 as far as the signing bonus is concerned. And the thing would be is that it will be contingent on, and I don't know if you all remember, but we had an MOU that was drawn up for those employees that went to the police academy, and they had to, if they went to the police academy, and we paid them their salary, that they would have a 3-year obligation to it, and ask that, if they ask to be released or they are, they leave before that's up, X amount of money would be withdrawn from them if they leave at a certain time. That's what this MOU would be as well. That if they actually leave after year 1, X amount of money of that federal program signing bonus has to come back to the district and has to go back into our federal program project. And that's the way that it would be if they leave after year 1, after year 2, or after year 1 and year 2.
That's a great idea. That's super. But I guess, how will we
everybody gets paid by, direct deposit, okay? They don't get paper checks anymore, so that if there's a situation to where that someone leaves or asks to be, as far as retired is concerned, resign is concerned, and they have not fulfilled that, the MOU or the board policy, that had been adopted for that, the business officer would have that as well, and that's what we would get, you know, before they receive their last pay period from the school district.
Question, Holly? Thank you so much, Mr. Wallace.
Yes,
Next
ma'am.
agenda item.
Agenda item 11.2, approval of recommendation for Oscar Tawana Shannon as middle college student advisor, executive summary, create an additional duty with pay for a GLCSD staff member that will serve as student coordinator for students that will attend middle college at Mississippi Delta Community College. As you all remember, the board graciously allowed us to implement a middle college program for this school term, 23-24, and we have, I think that at the moment we have about 51 students that have signed up for our middle college program through our 3 high schools. Those students will be transported to Mississippi Delta Community College to be able to take classes, you know, towards their AA degree. Now, as far as the approval of being able to do that, they have to have an advisor or administrator that will be in charge of ensuring that, you know, that they have someone that will be able to mentor them, make sure that that they are doing their work, that they will be able to get in contact with, you know, on off hours, as far as the students are concerned, you know, and those things. And with that being said, my recommendation is Dr. Tawana Shannon, who is currently the counselor at LaFleur County High School. And, you know, and through her, you know, me observing her work as a counselor and how she relates to students, as far as at LaFleur County High School, you know, I just wanted to be able to give the board an opportunity to consider allowing her to be that particular person for the Greenwood LaFleur Consolidated School District. While she's not on campus, that would be about 3 hours of her day. While she's not on campus at LaFleur County High School, we do have a counselor, we do have a counselor at the elementary school, you know, that could work and pick up that slack while she's not there, but she will be back on campus for the remainder of the 5 hours for the rest of that day.
Holly, any questions or concerns?
So, Mr. Waddington, you feel pretty confident that she will be able to handle that dual role?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She's all of our employees are great, you know, so I don't want anybody to take the sheet for nothing. She really is. She's very good with her duties as far as counseling is concerned, and you know, and she has volunteered for some things that, you know, we needed to get done without, you know, any hesitation. And with that being said, I think that she would do really well. And what we want our students to stick this out. We want them to not quit, you know, because it's going to be more rigorous at Mississippi Delta, you know, than it is as far as high school. We all know that college is, and we all know that college professors aren't going to mother hen you. They're going to give you a syllabus, and they're going to say, this is what you need to do, and they're going to be waiting on you to do it, and at the end of the semester, if you haven't, you're not going to pass. It's not like high school. So they need to be able to have someone that's going to assist them in making sure that you met these deadlines, that you've done these things, you know, and how to get them done, and what it is that we can do, letting us know as an administration what it is that we can do to assist these kids on being successful. I saw that I want to say that it was early May. I saw a newspaper article as far as Conference County High School is concerned. I think they had 13 children that will be receiving a diploma and an AA degree at the same time. So with that being said, my competitive juices started boiling, and we're gonna get this thing done for our children.
My concern is, and I hope that we can eliminate our students from having to take remediation courses.
Yes, ma'am.
And hopefully they will be better prepared
Yes, ma'am.
and be able to go in there and do what it is that they need to do. Because the remediation classes, I don't think they count for any credits, and then I believe you have to pay for them as well.
Yes, ma'am, and that is, that is a big part of, our schedule changing, and what it is that we're gonna offer our children. We, as an administration, we found out that as far as our dual enrollment is concerned, our students did enroll in dual enrollment classes, but we had a lot of students that dropped out. But that didn't finish. I'm not gonna say dropped out, but that did not finish. And we need to be able to have what it is that they need for success with that. And I know that completing these dual enrollment classes and or advanced placement classes and being able to pass the test, that helps with that situation, Ms. Lewis. And we want to make sure that, that if our children decide that they're going to do that, if you're going to start it, we want you to finish it. And we're going to give you every opportunity and every support to be able to do that. So.
You got a question or comment? Thank you, Superintendent Robinson. Next agenda item.
Agenda item 11.3, approval of recommendation for the 23-24 personnel director and for, approval of recommendation for Rosalind Griffin as the 23-24 personnel director and as consultant in Greenville LaFleur Consolidated HR Department from June 12th through June 30th. And the reason for the recommendation as far as consultant is concerned is this. Dr. Miller, has been, he's been very, very supportive and helpful in what it is that we're doing, or my vision as far as the school district is concerned, because leadership visions are different. So, and he's been doing that for us, and he's been working really hard. But Dr. Miller will be leaving us, and because he's received a position in his field, in a school district that is closer to his, to where he lives. So with that being said, he will be, working, or he'll be there sporadically during the month of June. But, the Greenville LaFleur Consolidated School District has to continue to work. So I'm asking that the board consider as far as consulting is concerned for if the recommendation is approved as far as consulting is concerned with that, and I'm saying that as far as Dr. Miller, and the position that he holds, again, he's been here long enough. He has 12 vacation days and he has personal leave days as well, and what he does with those days, is on him. So with that being said, I'm going to assist him in being as successful as he possibly can be, because those are children too, okay? And I want them to get the best that they possibly can, under his leadership. So that's why for the recommendation for the consultant.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, this is Mrs. Griffin, she's in the district now.
No, sir. No, sir. This comes from from the interview, from the job vacancy and the interview process, as far as that's concerned. Now, we can have conversations for her qualifications for it in executive session, I think, but you know, I will say that this is a very good candidate for that position.
Do we already have a job description for this
For-
position?
The director,
Mm-hmm.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Job description and qualifications.
Okay.
Any more questions? Thank you, Mr. Walton. Next agenda item.
Agenda item 11.4, approval of 23-24 personnel, executive summary, attaches a list of district personnel which requires board approval. Contracts and at-will agreements will be issued as required for the 23-24 school year.
No questions or concerns? Superintendent Walton, next agenda item, please.
Agenda item 11.5, approval of 22-23 personnel and resignations. Executive summary attaches a list of district personnel which require board approval for the 22-23 school year.
Mr. Washington, on page 314, under Threadgill Primary, the second name on there, and then under substitute teachers, the same person? The two different people or the same person?
I would get that information from the HR on that particular situation, because they look the same, spelled the same,
Right.
and, you know, and everything, so, I get clarity from the personnel department.
Okay.
Any more questions or comments? Superintendent Walton.
Agenda item 11.6, approval of transportation drivers, transportation monitors, shop staff, warehouse staff, alternative school drivers, career tech drivers, and Excel Academy drivers for the 23-24 school year. Attaches a copy of the 23-24 transportation drivers, monitors, shop staff, warehouse staff, alternative school drivers, career tech, and Excel Academy drivers. And this was prepared by, Ms. Talise Hudson.
Any questions? Seeing that there are none, Superintendent Walton.
Agenda item 11.7, approval of teachers for summer acceleration program. As part of the district effort to address our overage population as well as dropout prevention, we're implementing a summer acceleration program. This program will be in session from May 30th through June 30th. 2023, the program will employ 6 teachers in the service of 6th through 12th grade students, and the list of teachers are as written on the executive summary. And I would like to say that I am extremely pleasantly surprised. As you all can remember, we were talking about 3rd grade and making sure we get those get this sign up for those students that haven't passed the test. Now, this is our acceleration program, you know, so as credit accrual is concerned, credit recovery, you know, we have it located in one central location for the district. And again, this is another thing that we're doing to get our kids to know each other. So these students from all over the district, and they're being housed at Greenwood Middle School. You know, and again, like I said, we were talking about having difficulty getting the parents to sign up for the third grade remediation. For this program, as of today, we have 97 students that have signed up for this program already, okay? That is trying to, to work to catch up with what it is that they need to catch up through credit recovery, through credit accrual, through those types of situations. So, with that being said, I just must say that I'm very, very proud of our community, and I am extremely proud of Ms. Cassandra Hart, who is over the Excel Academy, and this is a part of her duty, as far as the summer school is concerned. So, for that, so, hopefully our students will get there, they'll work hard, they'll make sure that they're at school for the entire time, and we'll be able to give them that opportunity as far as hope is concerned to catch up with their peers and be able to be successful, in their academic career.
Just want to commend, that particular area of our district for doing, committed work.
Yes.
They are committed to our older population
Yes.
of students, and just want to thank that particular area of our district for their work.
Yes, Ms. Hart and the people that she has, Ms. Hart, Ms. Wentz, Dr. Coleman, who spearheads that, they have a heart for those children, and the children can take. And that's the reason why we probably have so many in there, because they take the time to talk to the children and the parents as well, to be able to get that. I think that we, in conversation with Assistant Superintendent Wentz, we have to limit the amount of students that's in it, because, we can't find the teachers. If we could find the teachers, we would be here to recommend 3 or 4 more, if we were able to find the teachers and be able to get those students in. So, that may be something that we may bring back. And, Ms. Wentz, asked me to remind you all, which is true, that we had a graduation today here at 1:30 for one of our students as far as the Excel Academy is concerned, who was able to receive her high school equivalency promotion ceremony. Indeed, we had a promotion ceremony event, and to celebrate her as far as her work is concerned. That was a student that was about 3 grade levels behind, but she came in and she did the work, and we're very, very proud of her. And that is our 4th student that we've had this semester, that has passed that exam. So we're extremely proud of the work that they're doing in the Excel Academy.
Thank you for that. Colleagues, are there any questions or concerns? Superintendent Washington, next agenda item.
Agenda item 11.8, approval of Lester Smith as PA announcement for the Floyd County High School football game to be paid $4.38 at the completion of the season. And this was information that I investigated based on a request of a board member, and and I did not know anything about it until I investigated, and I found out that this gentleman did work every game that we had as far as the Floyd County High School, with the expectation of being paid for it simply because he got paid for it the year before. Knowing that we have a new principal there, it wasn't spelled out, because we have people that volunteer for things all the time when it comes down to that. But with that being said, this gentleman, had been paid the year before, and that's what his expectation was this year. So with that being said, I did get proof that he did do the job. It was corroborated by the principal and the athletic director and the coaches and community members. Okay? Yeah, okay, so with that being said, I'm asking the board for consideration as far as payment is concerned.
You've been the board's Kentucky football for years.
Has it? Okay, awesome. That is absolute awesome. Okay, yes, sir, that's what we got.
Thank you, Superintendent Walton. Next agenda item.
Agenda item 10-9, approval of 23-24 activity drivers. This is a test copy of the 23-24 activity drivers. This recommendation was prepared by Mr. Lee Hudson. Agenda item 12 is, I think it's mass. From what from Dr. Bailey added that as far as the mass conferences, Mississippi Associated School Superintendent. Oh, we didn't do the recommendation for the employees, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Agenda item 11-10 is summer feeding employee recommendation. 31 food service employees are being recommended to work in the 2023 summer feeding program, which will run Monday through Fridays, beginning May 30th through June 30th. This constitutes 24 working days. The attached documents delineate the employee roster, salary scale, and the number of days each employee will work unless participation in other unforeseen circumstances dictates that changes must be made. And this recommendation is by Ms. Totten, our food service director.
Any questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Superintendent Walton. Next, I think it's 10-11. Recommendation for director of safety.
Yes, you all, I'm sorry, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You all have a copy of the recommendation form. The executive summary is recommendation for Marquicus T. Hibbler as director of safety for the 23-24 school term. And as with the personnel director, any questions that you all may have as far as this particular recommendation is concerned, we can discuss in executive session on June 6th.
Thank you. 11, consent agenda.
Yes, ma'am. We don't have anything. And normally what happens is that after the work session, Dr. Bailey will call Ms. Rimmer and myself after consultation with you all about those things that can be put on the consent agenda for the board meeting based on what was discussed at the work session. So it was just put on there for that particular reason.
I think this next one was policy regarding overtime pay and comp time. We discussed those.
Yes, I think that we moved that to the front, and that's something that Attorney Palmer is going to discuss with the board at the board meeting agenda. At the board meeting on June 6th.
Oh, that's gonna come up with the review of the policies.
Did we give that a number? To the number that we provided for the review of policy pertaining to rating and
It's 3, they moved it up to 3, yes ma'am.
Okay, 12, VHA, have we discussed that?
No ma'am, I think that, was it Dr. Bailey who brought up about the fee? Yes, he brought that up, and what we'll do is,
Bill for helping us.
right, yes ma'am, we'll discuss, because we will have to, and I think that we're quite ready, but we will have to bring to you all a proposal for the 23-24 Delta Health Alliance grant for Greenwood LaFleur Consolidated School District based on, the needs of the district, which, Ms. Johnson and Ms. Collins, are working on now, but we will have that for you all as well.
Okay, 12.1 plan.
Um, 12, okay, yeah, agenda item number 12 is the financials. Executive summary attached are the financial report for the month ending April 2023. The following reports are attached: claim docket, May, statement of revenue, statement of expenditures, current budget status, cash flow statement, statement of fund balance, combined balance sheet, bank reconciliation, quarterly budget amendment report.
Colleagues, are there any questions? We can review, what has already been provided to us from Mr. Wallington. And if there are any questions or concerns, ladies. Question, Ms. Louise?
Mr. Waddington, do we have GPS systems for all buses?
Not all of them, I'm not sure that we have them for the new ones that we purchased for ESSER is concerned, and those that we use as a sub bus. But, most of the fleet does have them. I am, looking into, also, being able, as we move forward, with our academics and the effectiveness of it, I would, like to be able to see if there is any instructional, part of the ESSER to be able to put Wi-Fi on the buses for the students to be able to use, in case that they may want to do homework or something to that effect. That's what it is that, as superintendent in South Delta, that I did as far as ESSER is concerned, even though that they're dealing with the issues that they're dealing with now. But, yes, ma'am, that's where we are with that particular situation.
When we discuss coaches driving buses, in this open meeting or in executive session?
We can discuss that, yeah. We can discuss it, I guess, as long as we don't get into specifics of who, name, yes, sir.
No, I think this is concerning all coaches.
Right. Yes, sir.
Is it a requirement?
Well, the thing about it is that what I asked is that, as far as our coaches are concerned, because we have, in this school district, we have over 50 coaches, okay? And as far as coaches that even have them, it's not about driving buses, it's having your CDL license, okay? To be able to do those things if necessary, and I think that it will be important, that, if you're gonna be a coach in the district, that you get the opportunity to get your CDL license, and it's free. Ms. Hudson is fully certified to be able to do that, and for them to be able to get their CDL license, they don't have to go anywhere, she can do it, and she's volunteered to do it. So, with that being said, it would help the district in so many different ways when you're talking about, them having the opportunity to do that, in some instances where we won't have to pay a bus driver, time and a half at $22.75, you know, to drive kids home or something like that. Not something that we would have the coaches do all the time, but it would be something that they could do if we needed that opportunity to do it. You know, giving them an opportunity to get a free commercial driver's license, you know, for their use of it.
Any more questions, comments? Superintendent Walden?
Yes, ma'am. Agenda item 13 is consideration as far as executive session is concerned. You know, we have the land management contract, which I've asked you all about the 16th section that we will, be, you know, taking into executive session. And also, I think that there was, possible litigation that, that Dr. Bailey spoke on that would be going into executive session that will be discussed by the board at the June 6th board meeting.